Hello beloveds, my name is Evonne from Embody a Mother and welcome to the cycle report for the 15th of February 2019. And today I come to you from the beautiful Otways in Victoria in Australia in the Southern Hemisphere. And I just want to acknowledge and honour the traditional custodians of this land, past, present and future. So here we are in the Otways. This is the beginning of the opening gathering of the 4 Seasons journey for the School of Shamanic Womancraft. And it's such an exciting day today. We have about 17 women who are coming here today to start their year-long journey. And today they'll make their start making their drums, their medicine drums, and dive into their birth story. So it's such a potent medicine time right now. We are 2 weeks past Lammas, so Lammas being the first harvest. So I think it's really interesting, an invitation to you and for all of us actually is to sit and have a look what's happening right now and question, is this a part of the harvest that you set forth come, from August, September, October last year? In the Northern Hemisphere, it's 2 weeks past Imbolc, so they're on the ascent. So anything that's happening to people in the Northern Hemisphere now and would be the sowing of the seeds. But here in the Southern Hemisphere, we are watching the harvest. So we are on the descent and it's getting, we're getting into the darkness. So at night, it's starting to get a little bit darker. In the mornings, a little bit darker. So, that feeling of the coming in, the drawing in, but we're not quite there yet. So we're still, it's still, the warm weather is still here, although this week has been definitely a shift in energy in terms of the weather. It has been a bit cooler, but yeah, we're on that descent in, even though it's very, very subtle, but it's still felt. So today we are 2 days past first quarter moon. So we are on an ascent, so heading up to full moon. So full moon is next Wednesday. So between now and the full moon is a really, really good time to think about things that you want to bring into fullness, things that you want to be fully illuminated in your life. So, you think of harvest, so this being Lammas, and things that you want to really, you're having a look around, you're seeing things that have been in your harvest space. And what is it about a particular, is there a harvest in particular that you want to draw out and draw up and see in a bigger fullness? So, to invite you to do full moon prayers, sort of maybe on Tuesday next week, to think, what is it that I want to bring into fullness in my life, is always a beautiful way to, really bring some consciousness as to what is happening in your life. My personal cycle, I am day 3. So I just want to really talk about the menstrual cycle and being in that day 3 space. So my experience of this week, in day 1, day 2, day 3 of bleeding, has been that my brain has been really in a different space. I haven't been able to think very clearly. So to do things that require sort of the right brain capacity has been difficult, and my memory has been a bit shot, and it's because my body has really wanting to go into that space of prophecy, seeing and vision. And I think I've said this on occasions on the cycle report, that the bleeding time was when the women went off, when we used to all live in tribal space in the shamanic worlds, because we all have shamanic ancestors, so we all have this in our body, in our DNA, that we used to go to the red tent, the women of the tribe or the village, and sit during their bleeding time to call in the visions for the village. So I'm really feeling that space, and especially being here, being day 3 in this School of Shamanic Womancraft opening gathering space, feels very, very potent indeed. And it feels like some amazing dream weaving and dreaming the good dreams to bring forth into the world. So that is my experience of this. I invite you to think about your experience of the day 3 in bleeding space. And if you are not bleeding, or or you're pregnant, or you're a man or a child or whatever, whoever's listening that's not bleeding, your moon, your cycle is about the moon cycle. So you're on the descent, so the energy is rising for you. So, but if you are a bleeding woman, the main cycle that's dominated in your body is actually your menstrual cycle. So I invite you to take note as to what's happening around you and to become conscious. And take note, because it's going to happen. Whatever's happening around us is going to happen whether we're aware of it or not. So I think it's such a good thing to bring it into awareness and really take note and to wake up and to see what's happening, which we are so needing in this world now, is for everybody to wake up out of their unconscious dreaming, their unconscious spaces, and be aware of actually what is happening around them, and to be real about it. Realness is such a magic that that I think we need to hold true to us, because if we're not being our truth, what are we being? Some kind of shadow of ourselves. And if we're not being real about what's happening in the world, or being speaking our truth, then what are we doing? I feel like we've sort of masked it, which I feel like the menstrual shame is such a big part of that, because if we can't be who we are in this cycle, in our bodies, we're just sort of half-assing it, maybe. Also wanted to speak to how important it is also to be aware of your cycles, and also to chart it, and to if you've got meetings that you want to be really articulated in and really sort of very, very present, plan them for when you're about to ovulate, or plan them if you're not bleeding around the full moon. And if you, and to plan your dreaming and idea space down, when you are bleeding, or just, in that deep harvest space, or that new space, and the new moon, dark moon. It really pays to be conscious around it, so you can plan how you're going to be. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Because, it's such a powerful gift to give yourself into the world when you show up like that. So, just some red tent and reflective questions that if you're up for it. So if you're bleeding, what happens around your day 3 space? And what are you wanting? So in the lead up to this full moon, what are you wanting to bring in full illumination? And that's it for now. So from my heart to your heart, from this dreamy opening, gathering, 4 seasons journey space, I send you so, so, so much heartwood space.